The records speak of a clash that shook the Eastern Desolate Peaks, where the once hidden fortress now smolders under the weight of treachery. Shadows of fallen warriors linger, and whispers of the martial god's wrath weave through the jagged cliffs. In recap, Martial God Asura, Chapter 133, Chapter 134, the air trembles as Asura faces enemies who claw at both his flesh and his honor. While allies teeter on the edge of despair, every heartbeat echoes the tension of what is yet to come, and the next move could either forge a legend or carve a grave. The night was thick with tension, shadows pooling in the corners of the palace as if they themselves whispered secrets of danger. The air carried an intoxicating blend of incense and mystery, signaling that this was no ordinary dwelling. Within the exquisite walls of the Su family's residence, the fragrance of rare flowers intertwined with the scent of polished wood and fine silk, each detail a testament to delicate elegance and perhaps hidden schemes. Chufeng sat quietly as a servant approached, hands trembling slightly as they offered a steaming pot of tea. "Young Master Chufeng, please partake. This tea is of the highest fragrance, specially prepared by the second lady herself," the servant murmured, voice laced with a respectful urgency. Chufeng accepted, the warmth of the porcelain cup grounding him after the previous indulgence of a lavish feast. He had eaten and drunk his fill, yet now the aromatic steam seemed to pull at him, promising clarity and solace. He drank, first a cup, then, in a careless thirst, emptied the entire pot, savoring the mysterious allure that clung to each sip. Yet even then, the thirst lingered, gnawing, insistent. "Where is the second lady?" he asked, curiosity laced with a sense of foreboding. "She awaits you on the top floor," the servant replied, her smile carrying a subtle, inscrutable weight. Chufeng frowned slightly. There was something peculiar in this arrangement, an invitation, yet no welcoming hand to guide him. But as he considered the hierarchy, the truth settled. Su Ru was an elder in the Azure Dragon School, a master whose presence alone commanded respect and authority. It was natural, then, that he should seek her out. Nodding to himself, he began the ascent. The palace's staircase wound upward, each step creaking softly under his weight. Yet, as he climbed to the second floor, an unexpected heat coursed through him, igniting in his lower abdomen like a hidden fire awakened. His body stiffened involuntarily. Panic mingled with a sharp awareness. This was no ordinary reaction. Something in the feast, an unseen, potent ingredient, was stirring forces within him that demanded release. He swallowed, adjusting his robes to conceal the telltale signs of his body's unnatural reaction, knowing that discovery now would bring scandal. Despite his best efforts, the affliction intensified as he ascended. By the third floor, an undeniable swell of vitality surged through him, pressing against his control. His youth and vigor, ordinarily a blessing, now threatened to betray him. The inner flame, dark, unrelenting, a poisonous fire, blazed, each heartbeat amplifying its consuming heat. He felt it feeding upon his desires, each pulse urging him toward uncontrollable impulses. Focusing, he drew upon his spiritual energy, channeling it to suppress the inferno. Slowly, the tide of fire retreated, allowing him to proceed, though caution marked each step. By the fourth floor, a new temptation assaulted him. A delicate fragrance floated downward, mingling with the warm currents of the palace. It was floral, almost ethereal, tugging at his senses with magnetic force. Chufeng's resolve faltered, and his pace quickened, drawn inexorably toward the fifth floor. Then the unmistakable sound of splashing water reached him. Steam curled and danced in the air, hinting at a chamber used for bathing. Alarm rippled through him. His spiritual defenses faltered just as suddenly, sapped as if an unseen hand had stolen his cultivated strength. Panic surged, and with suppressed desires erupted with violent intensity, leaving him teetering on the edge of reason. In his frantic retreat, a porcelain vase tumbled under his grasp, striking the ground with a resonant clatter. "Who's there?" came a voice, sharp yet melodious. Su Ru. The sound twisted through him, a siren's call wrapped in silk and steel. "Don't come closer," he yelled, though the command was barely rational. Even in panic, the fire within him sought her, a blur of motion, and he was drawn forward, arms outstretched, the chaos of desire propelling him with a force that no discipline could restrain. "Chufeng, it's you?" Her voice, calm now yet carrying the undercurrent of shock, came through the steam, footsteps light but urgent. And there she was, emerging like a vision, her form revealed in the soft shroud of vapor. White towel clung to her, the contours of her elegance traced by droplets of water that slid slowly over skin like liquid crystal. Hair clung to her shoulders, framing a face both fox-like and hypnotically beautiful. Chu Feng froze, though only for a heartbeat, before the fire within him surged anew. He lunged forward in a desperate, uncontrolled leap, impelled by forces beyond reason. Suru's eyes widened, panic flashing through their brilliance. She moved instinctively, but no profound energy responded to her command. Her body, though aware, could not escape. A sharp cry tore through the steam-filled chamber as she fell to the ground, the crimson bloom of her cheeks betraying both fear and surprise. Her hands, soft and helpless, brushed against him in a futile attempt to push him away, yet each contact only fanned the flames raging within Chu Feng. In that suspended moment, the room seemed to shrink, the world reduced to the clash of desires, the struggle of will, and the electric tension of bodies teetering on the edge of a precipice. The legendary tale of the Azure Dragon School had brought them together, yet here, in the quietude of Suru's private sanctum, a different storm raged, a tempest of human passion and the dangerous lure of unchecked power. In the shadowed corners of a quiet chamber, a storm was about to break. A storm born not of wind or thunder, but of desire, confusion, and betrayal. Imagine a scene where every heartbeat thunders like war drums, and the air itself seems thick with tension. This is where our tale begins, on the edge of madness and longing. Chu Feng's gaze was a feral blaze, sharp and hungry like a lone wolf stalking an innocent prey. His eyes, once calm, now glinted with untamed lust, fixated on the fragile form of Suru. The air between them seemed charged, electric, vibrating with suppressed energy. And there she stood, or rather, barely able to stand, like a porcelain figure under a harsh, unforgiving light. A careless motion had shifted her towel, revealing a flash of pale skin that shone like winter snow under a moonlit sky. Chu Feng's throat tightened involuntarily, his saliva caught between instinct and restraint. He raised his eyes, meeting the delicate line of her neck, the curve of her face, flawless, serene, yet haunted. Her eyes, large and luminous, betrayed fear, shimmering as if reflecting tears not yet shed. Her eyebrows trembled faintly, a subtle quiver of vulnerability, her lips pressed in soft, unyielding resistance. Chu Feng, have you lost your mind? Her voice, though weak, pierced the tension like a blade, but before she could finish, he closed the distance. In a sudden, jarring motion, his lips claimed hers. The world stilled. Suru, unprepared, felt a strange foreign sensation, a sensation that rendered her body limp, her strength abandoned. She sank against the floor, powerless beneath him, her limbs unwilling to obey her commands. As he pressed closer, Chu Feng's hands moved with a chaotic fervor. The towel that barely shielded her from exposure was torn apart, revealing glimpses of perfection beneath the fragile veil. She did not yield by choice. She yielded because her body had no will to resist, trapped under his overwhelming presence. Pain and realization collided within her. A sharp, alien intrusion brought crimson drops to stain the pristine floor. Her scream tore through the room, sharp and instinctive. Chu Feng, clear your mind. Her struggle was a tempest, yet he was immovable, a mountain cloaked in humanity, eyes bloodshot, breath ragged, driven by forces she could barely comprehend. And yet, in the haze of his frenzy, Chu Feng's mind caught fragments of a dream. A beautiful, distant vision of comfort and desire, blurred and fleeting, until his eyes fell upon the aftermath. The naked vulnerability of Suru, the dark stain of blood marking the passage of violation. Reality slammed into him with brutal clarity. His heart roared in disbelief, a tempest of horror and regret. What have I done? He whispered, voice trembling. Suru, however, rose with composed fury, a figure of ethereal white against the chaos. Her expression was cold, sharp as the edge of a blade. She surveyed him with quiet wrath, the clarity of her mind restored. This is not your fault, she said, her voice steady, measured, a calm amidst the storm. Yet every word carried weight, a rebuke and an unspoken demand for reckoning. Her body, pure and unyielding, stood before him, clothed in dignity despite the trials endured. Chu Feng, ashamed, could not meet her gaze, turning instinctively away. But her words, relentless, struck deeper than any blade. No need to hide. You have seen everything. Anger simmered beneath her controlled surface, mingled with the hurt of what had been taken and the injustice of betrayal by unseen hands. He realized the gravity of his presence, the obligations of a man who had wronged. He turned to face her, acknowledging both the beauty and the authority in her stance. Lust did not drive him now. Respect, fear, and accountability burned within. Suru's gaze, unwavering, assessed him as he steadied himself. Her voice cut through the tense silence. My cultivation is restored. Dare any evil thought, and I will shatter you. Chufeng's vow was solemn, unwavering. I will take responsibility, he said, words heavy with sincerity. No need for empty promises, she spat, teeth clenched. Do not speak of this to anyone, and do not betray May. I will betray neither, he promised, his voice resolute. I will honor both of you. Suru's face paled with indignation, her eyes sparking with a mix of fury and disbelief. You are too greedy, she hissed, before turning sharply and departing. Yet even as she vanished from view, she leaned against the wall, whispering to herself, a swirl of emotions unsettled within. Why am I so angry? Why does this sour taste linger in my heart? The chamber fell into an uneasy quiet, a silence thick with unresolved tensions, lost trust, and the echoes of desire. A tale of shadows, of restraint, of betrayal and responsibility had unfolded, a prelude to battles not only of strength but of honor, will, and the indomitable spirit of those who walk the path of the martial world.